Is this thing on?
And we are live.
Welcome to our show. Our host, Ram Garcia.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're in beautiful Corpus Christi, Texas, home of Whataburger, home of the beautiful Selena statue.
Oh, that's true.
Downtown.
Yeah. Downtown needs to be revitalized, man. There's a lot of good things downtown.
Yeah, it could be so much better.
Totally. Absolutely.
I think is what it could be, right?
Yeah.
What else we got here in Corpus? We have a bunch of water. We're surrounded by, we're not completely surrounded, but we got a bunch of the good water, right? Clean water.
Yeah.
We got a beautiful beach, but most importantly, we got a lot of grass in our waters as well.
Man.
But we'll get into that maybe 3/4 into the show. Right. If you've never tuned in to a Spoiled Life Live show, I try to do this. I'm your host, Ram Garcia, right? I always forget to say that because it's not about me, guys. I try to keep this not about me as much as possible. It's about you all, right? I try to do at least it's tough, but I try to do at least 2 shows a month, right? We bring in the best anglers, top anglers, dealers, some of the top dealers that are local, small businesses, right? Not necessarily local. We bring them from all over the place, from all over the world. Spoiled Life Live is worldwide, right? What's up, Derek? Salty Heads in the house. I think about 2 weeks ago, we created a giveaway, and it was a giveaway from Kuyan Crawfish Cookers. They donated $300 worth of crawfish, and I'm not talking about, okay, I'm just going to show up to Kuyan Crawfish headquarters, and they're just going to throw a bunch of bags in the back of my truck. These guys are going to cook it.
Oh, man.
They're going to cook it. There's award-winning crawfish.
350 pounds is a lot of crawfish.
I'm not sure how many pounds it is, but it's $300 worth, right?
Right on.
With all the fixings, they got potatoes. What else do you put in crawfish?
Potatoes, sausage. Dude, mushrooms and garlic.
Mushrooms.
Yeah.
I think I've seen some celery
I've never
inside
had
it.
celery. In the seasoning.
You try to add that, like, to add a little bit of color, not everybody likes red, and you know what I mean.
The cayenne to your
Yeah,
fingertips
exactly.
fall off.
But award-winning. There's tons of posts out there. They go corn. Corn is a big deal as well.
Awesome,
yeah.
dude.
Corn. And they got it, and we're gonna give some away. Okay. If there's always an if you don't like crawfish, if you're allergic to the shellfish things,
Yeah, that happens.
if you're out of town, like I said earlier, we're worldwide, right? If you're just too far, I'm assuming you're going to go to Kuyan headquarters, and you're going to bring an ice chest, your own ice chest, and you're going to dump this stuff in your ice chest and go home and have a feast, right? If you're too far away, right? Houston, Dallas, Alice, Brazil, anywhere. They're going to donate a $150 Roy's gift card for you all to spend here at beautiful Roy's Bait and Tackle. We got everything. Anything you could think of, anything that works, we got it here in one-stop shop, Roy's Bait and Tackle.
I know a lot of guys that wouldn't even tell their friends about the crawfish and would just use that Roy's Bait and
I thought
Tackle
about
gift
that,
card,
right?
man.
I thought
They'd be
about
like,
that.
I don't like crawfish.
But the thing we push most here is that we're real, right? We're real, raw, and live.
Right.
And the only thing about them crawfish that's not that is the raw part, right? Because they're going to be cooked. We actually have Poco Cedillo on, and he's going to be he's the owner. Him and his family, I guess, own it, but he's the poster child of Kuyan Crawfish, and we're glad to be working with him.
Cool.
Award-winning, but that's going to come here in a couple minutes. You do not have to be present to win. I'd like for you to be, right? Because it's a big deal. It's a huge accomplishment coming on Spooled Life Live.
That's
as
right.
well,
That's right.
And working with all these small businesses. But nonetheless, I got a special guest for you, right? It's going to come out of nowhere, so y'all just tune in, man. We got giveaways. We got 2 amazing giveaways. I might give away something, right? So just tune in. We're having fun. We're here at beautiful Roy's Bait and Tackle on the Fly Shop right up the stairs. If you want to come in, I got a case of Karbach Brewery, keeping us fresh. If y'all want to come in and watch the show live. And guess what? I'm wearing real sportswear, right? Like I always do.
Right on.
You know, keeping me fresh as well. Without further ado, I got a hell of a guest coming from Austin, right? Austin area.
Yes, sir.
Austin area.
Yeah.
Now Corpus Christi.
Well, no,
Or
I just spending a
part-time?
lot of time here. Yeah, I'm working on a
Part-time
big project here for you guys, and
Right.
yeah.
I got none other, and we're going to talk about it later, but I got none other than the grass walker from Trout Support, the maker,
Yeah.
the creator, right?
Yeah.
The legend, helping tens of thousands,
Yeah.
tens of thousands catch more fish and making it easier to catch.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not just the lure, that's the whole Trout Support
Yeah.
program.
Because we're going to get into that. What exactly is Trout Support?
Yeah.
Because the lure's grass walker.
That's right.
But Trout Support itself is more than just the lure.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I want to congratulate you, first of all,
Thank you.
right, for moving to Corpus, right? Getting away from the Austin area. You know, there's no water. I mean, they have, what do they have in Austin?
I think they got some
Travis,
ditch pickles up there.
right?
Yeah.
I guess you could do that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that if these have worked for that as well. I'm sure
They
you've
have,
gotten
actually, yeah.
posts and
I have a lot of guys that
Comments
buy
about
it
it.
for saltwater, and they've got like some farm tank on their ranch or something,
Right.
and they end up
Oh, yeah,
throwing
that's
it
true, too.
in the hydrilla and the farm tank and just smoking the bass on them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. I've had a bunch of guys tell me, show me pictures holding up like a 5 or 6 pound bass with it.
So we have none other than my personal friend, Mr. Tobin Strickland, in the Roy's Bait and Tackle
Sir.
studio.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, you bet, Ram. Man, we've been pals for a couple
Yeah.
years now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we got the grass walker, we got the Trout Support. Everybody knows that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You come into Roy's, you come straight ahead, you probably bump into the Stinky Pants Stringers. You take it just a tad left, go down that aisle, and you hit the Trout Support lures,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows the website, but not everybody knows Tobin Strickland,
That's
the
true.
man behind this stuff.
That is true.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's pretty cool because as long as I can remember, I've been fishing. In fact, my parents, before they passed away, my mom showed me this picture. I'm literally sitting on my dad's shrimp boat in diapers with a fishing rod. So, I mean, I've been fishing forever. Now, for a long, long time, I was into the freshwater game. All through high school, all through college, catching some really good bass in Gibbons Creek, Sam Rayburn, Lake Conroe. And it wasn't until right at the end of college, my brother invited me to go saltwater fishing down in the bays. And we went to West Matagorda, just wade fishing after some teal hunting, early fall teal hunting. And caught a trout on a jerkbait, no less. And it was in super shallow water. Shouldn't even have been fishing that jerkbait there. It was a suspending jerkbait. Caught a trout there, and sort of liked it. Sort of liked be able to get in the water and be just totally immersed in the whole experience. And that to me is what wade fishing is all
Right.
about, and I love it. And also just the physical activity of it and everything. But just grew up fishing. I would come home after school, and I would grab the bike and ride down to a golf course pond or something like that, and go fishing like every afternoon I got the chance. So I
I'm
was
gonna stop you real
I was
quick.
all about
Who's echoing, Mr. Turner? Let's just try to get this
a little
right
closer.
around there. There you go. All right,
Got
let's
some
go.
echo coming in, audio
Yeah.
adjustment.
Yeah, I told
How's
you.
that?
We find out really quick who's echoing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big problem we got. I'm not sure. Maybe I might have to replace these audio guys we got that are staring at us. You know? What's up, Brian Richter? Kyle Manak is in the house. Lisa Garcia. Corey Ogle is in the house as well. So let's go. So you hit up the golf course.
Yeah, man, I would hit up the golf course ponds, and just fish my tail off, and I just loved it. I still love it. It's been such a huge part of my life the whole time, and I'm just totally passionate about it. And about 12 years ago, when I started Trout Support, this was already after about 15 years of saltwater fishing. I saw that there was a big discrepancy between the guys that were good and the guys that were getting skunked or going home when maybe just one or two trout or something like that. And it wasn't really that the guys were frustrated. The guys that weren't doing so well weren't really frustrated, but they knew they could do better. They're like, dude, how do I do this? And so I started coming up and seeing all these patterns that I could teach them where they could do a lot better. It's really all about understanding how those fish move through the bays and what drives them and where they're going to be and when, and also understanding all those conditions. And I started teaching people about that and coaching people on the sides as well as part of Trout Support, troutsupport.com. I started the website 12 years ago now with my first DVD product that was all about summer fishing, really. It's all about reading the water. And everybody talks about this all the time, reading the water. You got to be where there's flipping mullet and all this stuff. But there's so much more to it than that.
Right.
But here, I'm not here to sell y'all on that program. This is just part of my journey. And I saw later, after developing 4 of those products, informational products, that there was even more of a need to really work one-on-one with guys and coach them and see them through their learning curve, because everybody's got a little bit different understanding, and we can talk about it a lot, but unless we're really specifically dialing in some stuff, it's just kind of hard to get from talk to on the water results.
Right.
So I really started getting through that and working with guys on that, and I've got some guys that have come a long way through it. That's been really cool. I mean, it just makes me happy when I see a guy that I've been supporting all of a sudden start to catch limits, and now he's catching 6-pounders and just growing. Angler growth is super important. So it's just been such a big part of my whole life.
That's the early ages of Tobin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When did you start venturing off into Baffin, Matagorda, like serious fishing?
I started hitting Baffin pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Right after college. But doing it more on my own and not, going with somebody else, probably would be about 18 to 20 years ago now. I'm 53, so right in the 35 range.
Oh, you're 53?
Yeah, I'm 53.
Man, you look great.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Right.
That's what all the 38-year-old girls tell me.
Yeah, right. Now we have
and my
something
wife.
in common. Right.
Yeah.
You're a captain as well.
No, actually, I've not taken my captain's license.
Never?
No.
Man,
I don't really want to be a guide.
Man, we're going to get into that too, but I always thought you were a captain.
Yeah, well.
Might as well be.
Yeah. Well,
It doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
The captain's name.
That's kind of it.
I got a lot of respect for the captains, right?
Yeah.
There's a captain and there's a captain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I got a respect for the captains.
Right on.
It's for the upcoming anglers that don't know, right? Maybe people that don't fish, right? They come from Dallas, they come from Lubbock,
Yeah.
they come from, where else could they come from? Amarillo, right? They want to just get the experience.
Yeah, and there's guys that do that. I mean, there's guys that will literally drive 7 or 8 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I have some guys that fly down from Colorado once a month to come down here and fish.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they love it here.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that I respect, that'll take somebody and give them the experience, right? Yeah, we're just going to cast around and catch trout or catch reds and stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a real bad habit of coming like this. It's me that's echoing, but I got a bad habit of coming right here and just making myself comfortable, But I got to be right here.
Got to lean into it.
Yeah, I got to get right here and talk into the mic. Oklahoma, there you go. That's another one.
Yeah, there we go.
But those guys that actually bring in these people and make them want to come again, right? Year after year.
Big, yeah.
That's the experience.
Yeah.
That's the story they tell, right?
Yeah. And probably all of us have part of that as our growth, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My dad, some of my first fishing trips and that got me hooked is my dad took me with fishing guides out on Lake Sam Rayburn, and you know, my dad took the time to take me with people that were better than he was. You know, so what do you have to pay to do that? But he did that, and it's
expensive too.
Huge contribution to my life. You know, I wouldn't love fishing now.
Yeah.
You know, if he didn't start me out that way. So that was super cool.
I don't know why people just don't come into Roy's Bait and Tackle, get all their stuff, and just go fishing by themselves. Because it'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
I want to say it's up to, well, I guess it depends who you go with, but
I do
average.
that now.
Huh?
I do that now.
Right?
Yeah.
Average cost. Don't fall off that thing,
yeah.
Tobin.
I'm actually
Don't
standing
fall,
up.
man.
I'm standing up on a
Yeah.
crate.
Maybe that'll be one of the giveaway questions. Because I completely forgot to make some up, but we'll figure it out. Average price on a guide, 800, 500,
Yeah, anywhere from 500 to
1,200, you know, depending on who you're going with,
True.
right?
Yeah.
That's expensive. You know?
But you know, honestly, that's if you split it up with how many people are on that trip. Say like,
Yeah.
you know, if a family's paying for that, then yeah, that's super expensive. But you get 4 dudes in a boat splitting $800, you know, $200, maybe a $50 tip each one of them, $250. Man,
That's not even including the tip yet. You still got to
exactly
tip the guy.
right. But compared to the price of gas, I mean,
Yeah.
you can burn
But
a
that's
lot
recent.
of gas
You know,
just
the
on
gas
your
is
own.
recent. The gas problem's recent, right? I guess it's always been there, but now it's a big deal.
Now
you
it's
know?
a big deal.
You got to pay for the guy's boat, you know, of course.
Yeah.
Wear and tear on the boat, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. You know, I get it. You know, but if I was gonna pick a guide, maybe if you were a guide, right? I'd go with Mr. Strickland,
Yeah.
Watkins, right?
Watkins is great. Love Jay Watkins. He's been a big influence in my life.
The Torres brothers from Corpus, Travis Thompson, right? But I want to go by myself. I wouldn't want to bring all the guys. I want to go and I want to like, okay, dude, I know how to fish, right? But I want to learn something.
That's right.
I'm giving you $800. Teach me something that I don't know already, you know, which is it's going to be tough, right? But teach me something that what makes this guide business successful, right?
Yeah.
Because those dudes they're big names, you know.
They're big names.
Everybody talks about them.
Yeah. Well, those guys, you know, there's true teaching guides, and then there's guides that maybe just share an experience but not necessarily teach.
Right. I like that, the teaching aspect,
Oh yeah.
the story, right?
Right.
The adventure, right? Not just, okay, we got a bunch of live shrimp over here, we're just going to be throwing popping corks all day long. And that's okay, too,
That's okay.
right?
There's
Some
no-
people like that.
There's no wrong.
Some people have never done that before either.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that have never done it, they don't know what's right from wrong or what's supposed to be happening and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But I'd rather learn and bring back nothing, right? And use that knowledge in my waters that I fish
Yeah.
than catch a limit of trout and go home and drink Karbach all night. You know what I mean? What waters do you, what type of fishing do you predominantly
Pretty
do?
much do it all now. A long time ago, I was just a walk-in angler. I still do some of that when it's right, and I definitely will be hitting the surf this summer, walking in. I had a kayak for quite a while. I'll probably be picking up another one sometime. But right now, I've got an ibis, a new water ibis. So I do it all, and I think that's part of the adventure for me, because to have a boat now and then go, you know, I think I'm going to do a walk-in wade. That's a total different challenge, because you got to be kind of spot on with what you know and pull it off right. You got to have a lot of knowledge and history of that. Otherwise, because you can't start up the engine and go hauling off somewhere if you're on a walk-in wade, you know.
Right.
And here's the cool thing on those walk-in wades, a move of 100 yards can mean the whole difference. And if you know what to look for and read the water, that's the cool thing, and that's kind of what challenges me on just a walk-in wade is I pick where I'm going to go for the season and then go walk in. And I may start on one end of the cove and see something, flip on the water, out in the middle or back in the back of the cove or whatever, and all of a sudden that's 75 yards away, and I'm over there, I'm on it. Some of the mistakes that we make as new anglers, and we'll see that, and oh, that's kind of cool. Saw that back in the back of the cove. Whereas your seasoned guy, if he sees the right thing, he's like, I'm on it. Especially if he's already been in that one spot for 15 minutes and hadn't had a strike.
What is he gonna see? When you're walking and you say, man, well, if you see this over here, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's really what I tell people. It's really all about predator-prey interaction. We've got mullet jumping all over the entire Corpus Christi Bay complex right now. So it's not just about mullet jumping it, but it's how that mullet jumps. And how is that mullet jumping, how is it interacting with something else that's making it jump a certain way? That's the real key.
Right.
And right now, it's not even really all that much about mullet. It's about little glass minnows and, little tiny stuff, Glass minnows, juvenile menhaden, and silver sides, all super oily fish. And it could be a trout slick. Everything that's eating all that oily stuff right now is popping trout slicks. And they have been for almost 2 months now. It's just you had to be in the right area to start seeing the early ones. It's not like it just started happening. So those are the type of things that reading the water really comes to,
On these videos that you have, you explain that
Yes, sir.
a little bit more in depth.
Oh, it's totally, yeah, very in-depth. That's one of the big things is people say that they're still the most detailed productions that are out there. But again, I'm not here to sell y'all on that program. But
And I got one.
Yeah.
I got one of those videos. It was, I want to say his last name's Maldonado. I'm not too sure. But he was, he had a garage sale or something. I'm not sure what he was doing. Correct me if I'm wrong if you're watching, but I want to say his last name was Maldonado. I'm not sure. He had a whole bunch of old school videos, and I see in your picture on one of them. And I was like, man, I want that. Send it to me. He was, anybody who wants it.
Oh, cool.
I said, I want it. Send it to me, right? I think I sent him like $200-300 for that video. I'm just playing.
It's all good.
Good stuff on that. We spoke about Club Texas.
Yeah.
That's something totally different.
That's something totally new. So Reef Recon and Club Texas are the two new things.
Okay.
And Club Texas is it's a membership program. It's an annual program, and it's where somebody can come in that's maybe already watched the Trout Support video series, and they can come in and actually interact with me weekly. Hey, Tobin, I went this weekend, and these were my results. What can I do better? What did I miss? Or also, what I really like to help them do is like, all right, I'm going this weekend. What do I need to look for? Where do I need to be? And we walk them through the whole thing, So it begins this one-on-one coaching dynamic that really has a lot of purity to it and a lot of weight to it, And it's based on 20 years of experience on the water, as well as I actually got an ecology degree from Texas A&M University. I also got a master's degree in architecture, which is really how systems work together. That's what I use it for, because I really architected a program of how it all works together. And that's what I teach people in that club.
Okay. Yeah. The DVDs, are they like, and I'm jumping around everywhere, but the DVDs, are they like area-based DVDs, or is it like a DVD how to cast, or DVD lure selection, or is it like DVD Baffin, DVD Oasis, DVD Rockport?
Yeah, they're really
Lake Travis.
They're really the DVDs. When I tell people the difference between the DVDs and the club bars, the DVDs really train your eyes to see stuff on the water, to see those predator-prey interactions and all the details of it, not just like jumping mullet, just like all the details of it.
Right.
Whereas the membership actually coaches more on where to be and when and why that's important to be at those places as compared to other places. Like right now, I had a new member join, and right before he joined, he went and fished the Upper Bay. Hardly anything up in the Upper Bay right now. Nothing. They all left. So you don't want to be up there. So
I read a post that they all went north or something.
Well, they all went south.
Right.
Yeah, south for the suburb. So you gotta be in the right place there, And there's ways. It's not like, oh man, you gotta be at the right place at the right time. It's not that situation. It's you gotta know where those right places are and when that is. And the cool thing is, it's the same every year. They follow the same patterns every year. So, but yeah, You can see I get excited about this stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
I see the passion you have for it.
Yeah.
So the members that are watching, these DVDs are speckled trout.
Speckled trout, redfish, and actually I released the flounder footage inside of Club Texas.
Okay.
Because everybody, you know, we're kind of all past physical DVDs anymore. It's like you can't even buy a computer with a DVD player anymore.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, so we're kind of those are on the
right. That's weird.
So,
so
we got speckled
like
trout, flounder, and redfish.
So the thing to be, from what I'm picking up, what you're putting down, the place to be is the Club Texas.
Yeah, it really
that's
is.
That's what holds the most value, right?
Not really. It's a hand in hand kind of thing.
So both.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. Because
you have the DVDs to prepare you for Club Texas, or vice versa.
It could be a vice versa deal. You know, I think a lot of guys out there already know some parts of reading the water. You know, they already know. Man, I got to go and I got to find, you know, numbers of mullet and things like that. But it's dialing in the precision, the really precise stuff that you need to see. So anyways, the DVDs are training your eyes what to see on the water, whereas the membership talks about where you should be doing that and coaches back and forth. So
right.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of questions and comments, and the one that caught my eye is, have y'all done the crawfish giveaway yet? From Dominic
Quit
Sanchez.
talking about fishing. And
right. Yes, we have, man. Dominic, some dude, Ram Garcia, won. You know, he's probably some local. You know, I'm just kidding. Nobody's won yet, right? I want to let's do it at the 30-minute mark. We're at 26, 30-minute on the dot. Somebody remind me. Somebody's gonna win $300 worth of crawfish.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's keep on going.
Yeah.
Thomas Bulger. When certain folks talk, and Tobin Strickland is one of them, drop what you're doing and listen.
Thank you so much.
Me and Thomas are on the same page.
That means a lot
right
for me.
So boat fishing.
Yeah.
Right. Predominantly. Right. I've seen you on the water a couple of times. We're not going to say where. Right. But I've seen you out there. Let's get into weedless fishing.
Okay.
Right. There's a bunch of it. There's a bunch of grass, right?
Yeah.
Shell, rocks.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just necessarily use a weedless approach just for grass.
That's right.
What are your thoughts on weedless fishing?
Well, the cool thing is I've been really learning and diving into the very finer details of it the last 6 or 7 years after developing the grass walker and fishing it. And actually, even during prototyping that bait, I prototyped that bait for 7 years. But here's the thing. I wanted to be able to share just weedless fishing in general with you guys, because the information of what I've worked through to get the best hookup ratio, I think, is what's going to benefit people. And you can apply this stuff to whatever you're fishing. You can come in here and Roy's and buy whatever soft plastic you want to and be able to apply this stuff to get a better hookup ratio. And probably the biggest thing is the hook set. But I would say there's several things in the realm of fishing weedless that actually have come together to help me get the best hookup ratio. And the thing is, and the word's kind of gotten out about fishing weedless, is like, man, you don't have that good of a hookup ratio. But if you dive into it, we can learn to figure out why. One, we've gotten to this place where we're fishing medium light rods or light rods. We fish with a super loose drag rather, because you don't want to tear that baby trout's mouth. It might hurt them, or things like that. And the truth is that J hooks a lot of time will skin hook in the back of their mouth or on the side. You don't get that deep hook set. So we set the hook very lightly on a light drag with a very whippy rod, and we wonder why we can't set the hook on a trout on a weedless rig. Or we'll fight this fish for a minute, and then all of a sudden, the first time they come up shaking their head, lure flies out or something. Right. Even on redfish, I've seen big redfish. Redfish will hold a weedless plastic so tight, especially the bigger ones, in their crusher patch in the back of their mouth, that rough patch in the back of their mouth, that when you go to set the hook, that bait never moved. It never moved 1 inch. Mm-hmm. And you'll fight them for a while, and they'll come up by the boat, and they'll open their mouth, and boop, out comes the bait. So here's the thing on weedless fishing and increasing that hookup ratio. Number one, tighten your drag to lockdown pretty much for the hook set. As soon as you set the hook, back off that drag. It's like I'm popping them hard, and I'll back off that drag, because you got to be able to take that shock that we've built into the system. You got to be able to take that out so that you can move the bait from the back of their mouth to the jaw somewhere. And then that big EWG hook that we're using can do its job. But if that bait doesn't move, it's not going to set in, somewhere. So tighten the drag to lock down for the hook set. Some other guys, Mike McBride actually suggested early on, thumb down for the hook set. And you can do that, but a lot of times I forget.
Right.
As soon as I get that thump, I'm like, everything else disappears. Brain matter 0.
Right.
So tighten down for the hook set. Back it off as soon as you got the hook set. Definitely use braid. Monofilament just has too much stretch. There's a recent study actually in Texas Fish and Game, and they actually did a really good study on it. And 15-pound monofilament stretches about 15%.
Wow.
And it feels like it's more than that, but over a 50-yard distance, it stretches about 15 inches. So if you think about it, you can set the hook on mono, and all it's doing is going, and you're not really driving that hook.
It's like an accordion.
Yeah,
Does
you're not
braid
driving
have
that
stretch?
hook.
What percentage does braid have?
I think it's got like maybe, I think at 100 yards, I think that article said it had about 3 to 4%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a pretty big difference.
Huge difference. Right. So we got to use braid, and then we've had this talk about, on the flats, you don't really need fluoro. You should use a mono leader. Well, here's the thing. With going to fish weedless and we want to take all of those stretch parameters out of the equation, use a fluorocarbon leader. And the reason is because you want to take that stretch out. So, a lot of times using a topwater, we want that monofilament leader. And I use monofilament a lot when I'm on the grass flats, fishing a topwater. I want that little element of stretch to give me a little advantage so that trout won't, throw off that topwater. But for weedless, in order to increase the hookup ratio, use fluoro. And personally, most of my big trout spots, I'm using 25. On the flats, just fishing for redfish, or in the summer, just fishing for limited trout, I'll use a 20-pound. But 25-pound fluoro leader, braid, and then set the hook hard. We've learned some ways to tweak the hook a little bit. And what's really become important is the hardness of the hook. You can test a lot of these EWG hooks that we get off the shelves and everywhere. And a lot of them, if you take them, you can actually kind of bend them open a little. I mean, not bend them, but they actually flex a lot.
Right.
In fact, one of the hooks that I was using when I was prototyping the bait is a super, super sharp hook. I'm not going to say the name because I hate being negative about anything out there. But right at the time that I bought the mold for the bait, that company actually sold out to somebody, and that hook went from being hardened and super strong and super hard and durable and not bendy to all of a sudden you can really flex it.
Right.
And
they wanted to save money.
Something like that, probably
Right.
so. Yeah, to buy them out, go to cheaper stuff, all that. But I was wondering for a long time, well, why is my hook percentage? Why is my hookup percentage gone down? And here just recently, even I switched over to the Gamakatsu Superline EWG in a 5/0. And if you take that hook out of the package, it is one of the hardest hooks. It's actually hardened to the point where, man, it really doesn't flex. So I've actually switched over to that hook. So hardened hook, braided line, fluorocarbon leader. And we are slightly bending those hooks just so we could get a good fit on the baits. And by that, we're really talking about, if you looked at my first video of how to shape a swim bait hook, and that's on my YouTube channel. Anybody can look that up. We bent them to where the point of the hook lines up with the top of the eye. We want that a little bit more open, but we're actually using something now that I wish I'd have brought it actually, is we're putting a little small piece of plastic or rubber band or plastic tubing on the hook shank and using that to hold the hook in place on the bait.
Okay.
So it'll hold the hook point down on the bait, And that way we don't have to skin hook. So now we've taken all the stretch out of the system, and we've made that point to, as soon as, it doesn't take any pressure at all for that hook to slide up, Instead, before, if you were skin hooking it, or also you'll see a lot of these things where a bait has a hook slot in the top of it, and they're like, yeah, we put a hook slot in the top of it because it helps hookup ratio. Those guys haven't done their homework. Because if you put a hook and you sink it down into some kind of a hook slot, like, we have a belly hook slot. But if you put that hook point in that hook slot up top, what ends up happening when you set the hook, most of the time the baits go sideways, and almost invariably, a large percentage of the time, that hook point will dive right into the side of that plastic of that bait, and you can't hook a fish that way.
Right.
So we just want that hook to just be sitting right up there on top.
Exposed.
Pretty much exposed, other than if you shape it right, you can get it to sit right there, and it's just, hugging the top of it, kind of hugging and cuddling,
Yeah.
The hook's cuddling the bait. And then the final thing has been the rod. And at first, I really was resisting this because I didn't want people to have to buy a new rod, and I don't make rods. I don't have any connections with rods, builders or anything. So this is just the information that I wanted to pass on to people. Was you gotta upgrade your rod a little bit to a heavier action rod. I went from a medium light fast to a medium light extra fast, and that extra fast, it's got more backbone further up the rod. So it's got a little bit of a medium light tip on it, but just about a foot down, it all of a sudden becomes about the backbone of almost a medium heavy.
Really?
Yeah. And what that's allowing us to do is, whereas on our medium light, it's got a bigger bow in it, and that's a big shock absorber, and we may want a medium light, moderate fast for fishing worms or topwaters, but for weedless and getting the best hook set, you really want medium light extra fast, or a medium with a fast action. You want something with a good backbone on it, because you got to set the hook. I was talking with Cliff Webb the other day, and he goes, let me show you my grasswalker rod. And he brought out his rod, and it's a medium with a fast action. And Cliff loves the bait.
Do you switch rods from grasswalker to topwater?
I do now.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't before, and I really wanted to resist that, because I was like, man, I don't want people to have to buy a different rod.
Right.
But it gets to the point where certain times of year we've got so much floating grass that having to switch rods is kind of like a daily thing. Like we've been really lucky this spring. There hadn't been all that much floating grass. I had some days, we had all those low tides here a couple of weeks ago, and I was down in Port Isabel, and we had some days where the tide was so low over the grass that we were fishing that you couldn't fish a jig head because there was only like that much water over the grass. I mean, literally, you had to be in something super buoyant or weightless, and so those were days that became good grass worker days. But outside of that, as long as the tide's been up, we haven't had a ton of floating grass.
Right.
So we've been lucky this year. I think, as it starts heating up, a lot of that grass is going to start releasing, and we're going to start getting a lot more, floating grass days. So yeah, I just keep it in the boat with me, and I'll start out with one rod in the morning, fishing topwaters or suspending baits and jerk baits and stuff, and then, about middle of the day, grass starts floating up. I'll grab that medium light extra fast and put a grasswalker on there,
Right. So what do you say we give away some crawfish?
That sounds good, man.
So if we skipped over your question, right, which I'm sure, because we could talk about this all day long,
I love it.
If we skipped over your question, myself, if it's a question towards me, if it's a question towards Mr. Strickland, we're going to go back and we're going to answer all of them, right? After the show.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're going to go home and relax and, get all the nerves down. I get nervous, just being the host of Spool Life Live.
Yeah.
I'm just playing. I do, actually. So let's give away some stuff. What we got to give away right now is $300 worth of crawfish donated by Kuyan Crawfish Cookers. If you don't follow them right now. Go to their Facebook page. They're owned and operated locally, right? Cool people to talk to. Award-winning crawfish. is what we're giving away, guys. We only had about 30-something entries. Maybe not everybody likes crawfish, right?
Right, true.
Maybe not everybody read the post. If you don't like crawfish, we're going to throw in $150 to come spend here at Roy's Bait and Tackle, right? Kuyan Crawfish Cookers. Go check them out on Facebook. I have everybody's name that jumped in this giveaway in this Roy's Bait and Tackle cap right here. And my man, Mr. Strickland's going to pick one of them.
All right, good deal.
So I'm assuming this is how it's going to work. We're going to pick a name, and then the winner is going to slide into my DMs, right? We're going to hook y'all up with Kuyan Crawfish Cookers. This isn't just $300 worth of crawfish. This is $300 of crawfish plus fixings.
Yeah,
This is
sausage,
cooked
corn,
crawfish,
potatoes.
right? If you went to Crawdaddy's, if you went to Razoo's, if you went to McDonald's, and you asked for $300 worth of crawfish, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh shit, you know, we ain't got that much. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming you're going to have to get an ice chest or something. Take it to Kuyan Crawfish headquarters. They're going to load up your ice chest with $300 worth of crawfish. You're going to go home. You're going to call your buddies.
You should probably plan a party around it. I mean, that's
Yeah,
probably enough
it
crawfish
should.
to have, at least 3 Cajuns, but maybe about, 25 Corpus people.
Yeah, at least, right?
At least.
A whole bunch of Karbach,
Yeah.
right? A whole bunch of real sports.
Karbach, I mean, beer is just a reason to cook crawfish, right?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have something to cool it down. I'm assuming you could get it spicy, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you like. I highly doubt there's only one way to cook crawfish with Kuyan Crawfish Cookers. You just tell them what if you like it spicy. I'm sure they could make it as spicy as you want. But one person's gonna win, and that one person is.
All right, let's see here. I didn't bring my glasses, but let's see if I can read it. Starts with a B,
And ends with
ends with a Z, actually. Brandon Hernandez.
Let me see that here. Brandon Hernandez is the winner.
All right.
I want y'all to see that.
Hey, Brandon, give me a call when you get that crawfish in, okay?
Yeah, give me a call too, man. We might just have to do it here outside of Roy's Bait and Tackle.
Hey, get a bunch of people together, and I'll come over and do a talk at your place, and we'll all
Yeah, it'll be like a little seminar.
That's
right. A little.
No holds barred. I'll give it all away.
Yeah,
on
we'll
the
do it
talk.
raw. Let me write this down real quick. Brandon H. Crawfish winner. All right, real quick. Let's keep on going. We're running out of time. Roy's Bait and Tackle closes at 6, and everybody's already giving me that stare like, man, you're already 43 minutes into it. You know, we don't want to work overtime, you know. We might have to give you your own key to lock up. Right. Congratulations, Brandon, by the way. You know, that's a huge accomplishment, winning something on the Spoiled Life Live show. Especially $300 worth of crawfish. Like, you'd want to just share that a little bit. Right? Good stuff. Like I said earlier, slide into my DMs. We'll work something out. Unless you just don't like crawfish, right? If you don't like it, you could spend $150 here at Roy's Bait and Tackle.
Yeah.
Right? We'll set you up with Kuyan Cookers, and you're going to have a feast. Lucky. Lucky. That's good. Good stuff. Let's talk about the grass walker.
Yeah.
So the grass walker was invented when?
Honestly, the conception of idea was probably about 20 years ago. I was fishing the grass flats here in Port A, actually. And man, starting about, 8:30, 9 o'clock, that grass starts floating up. And you really can't fish a topwater anymore, definitely not trebles. You go to single hooks, that helps a lot. But there are days when you're starting to even get grassed up on that. So I started prototyping the bait probably about 9 years ago now. It took me 7 years of prototyping to get this bait to where I wanted it to. And one of the biggest frustrations trying to fish weedless when all that grass was floating up, when I was walking on the flats 20 years ago, is I could put on a cocoa minnow, but you can't cast it. And you would get a backlash every other cast, and you would cast it maybe like 20 yards, you know, and then it wouldn't be very accurate when you would cast it.
Okay.
So I really wanted to work through some of those deals. I wanted a bait that had really good walk the dog action. It's not perfect. Sometimes it'll go side, 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 and then up and down, and then side, 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 you know. But compared to a fat boy, yeah, and you guys can tune fat boys to walk pretty good. Hopefully, if you haven't learned how, there's a YouTube on my channel to learn how to walk a fat boy and bend it just right. But anyways, this thing, I could have honestly bought myself a Tesla for what I spent prototyping this thing, and I wanted to contribute to people. Like, I wanted to make something good, you know. So the other parameter was that it had to cast very well.
Right.
And this thing weightless, it bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've used it.
Yes, I do use it.
Yeah. So it needed to cast well. It needed to cast accurate because there's a lot of us sight casting, and this guy throws like a dart, man.
Really?
Yeah.
How much does it weigh?
You know, with a hook in it, it's probably a little over a quarter ounce. It's probably almost a half ounce. But a lot of how it casts is actually in the design of it. And there's a term in the military called a cargo master. And a cargo master takes a DC-3 aircraft and he designs where the weight is in that aircraft so that it flies right. Well, that's what I did with the bait. And it's not just like, it's got a tail on one end that shakes, you know. A lot of guys ask me what the ripples in the tail are for, and I wanted something that was really flexy, so it flexes a lot when it walks. And then also, this is kind of cool thing, you almost don't need a rattle in it, because as it flexes back and forth, all those little riblets are making little bumps of a wave of water, and all of our fish use, you know, their side or their lateral lines to feel all that. So I've tried it. I've fished it a lot with a rattle in it, and I've fished it without the rattle, and I get super great results just without the rattle because of all those ribs on the side of that tail. So it flexes a lot. It causes a little drag in the water, so it tracks true and stuff like that. So
Would you rather, fishing this bait, would you rather walk the dog?
sometimes
Is that what it's designed to do?
yeah, you know, its real design is to fish in that 16 to 18 inches of water that we get on the grass flats. And it walks the dog about 6 inches under that. It's not a topwater. I know a lot of people saw my first videos of it and were like, cool, you know, walk the dog, soft plastic topwater. But it's not. It's designed to walk right under all that floating grass. And so I'll walk it, but I found that it casts so far. I mean, literally, I'll be like, man, this thing is still out there, you know, and I'm still walking it. So I've gone more now to just a two-pop, just two-pop.
Okay.
And
Let it
two-pop, a lot like you're fishing your jig head, so you don't have to really learn any, you know, real specific thing. But sometimes I will walk it real fast and erratic, but you don't need to. There's a lot of different retrieves with it. You can just slow reel it. I've had guys, especially, I don't really fish the lights that much anymore, but I've had guys just slow reel it right on the outside of a light, and the trout love it. It's like this mullet that just snuck out from the pack, and they're like,
Right.
I
It
got
comes
you.
in glow. One of them's.
Yeah, one of the bone diamonds.
Is it
Bone diamond
bone
has
diamond? There you
got a
That
glow
one
top.
glows.
Yeah.
You know, one of my biggest redfish was caught on the
Yeah.
grass walker.
Cool.
Because I saw it. Of course, it was, I don't know, I want to say 200 yards away. But that's exaggerating. It was it was out there, right? And I carry a lot of stuff. When I first started, I wanted to have everything, you know, and I'm on a kayak, right? I wanted to have every single thing. I'm sure if we go back into the past posts, you could see my kayaks. They were just, it was crazy.
Loaded down.
Yeah, it was just with everything, you know, and I had all kinds of flags, and I had all kinds of lights, and I had all kinds of rod holders and TV and microwave and everything like that. But anyways, so I saw that fish out there waving his tail at me, and I said, man, there's no way I'm gonna get to this thing, and if I try to get to it, I'm gonna spook this fish. So I picked up that grass walker, And it was a time where the grass was high, you know, and I was fishing in the grass. You know, I was pushing my way into the grass, and I seen that. And I caught it on, it was not the birthday suit. It was not
chicken
this
on
one.
a chain.
Yeah, it was the chicken on the chain.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. We got him here at Roy's Bait and Tackle.
Yeah.
Come to Roy's Bait and Tackle, and
They got the new color too.
take one out of the pack and check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Super durable
just-
bait,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, and especially that the other addition of putting the hook point just not hooked into the back, not skin hooked, but up and bare. They even last longer.
Right.
Yeah, some people go, "How do you even make a living with this?" I've got like 50 fish off of one.
Right.
I'm like, I wanted to make something good. I don't care, you know.
Yeah. I wonder if it's good. See, I've thought about that too. What I've started doing, and I'm probably doing it wrong, right? But Ram Garcia does what he wants.
That's how you learn.
I'll put a brand new lure. If I'm going that day,
Yeah.
I'll take my old one off. Depending, right? Most of the time where the hook comes out, it's bit there and it's got a
Yeah.
big chunk missing.
Yeah, a bunch
I'll
of teeth
toss that
marks.
one. But is it better, your opinion, is it better to have a brand new lure that's clean, it's not bit, it doesn't have no rash on it, opposed to a lure that's just brand spanking new, cuts through the water like it should, perfectly hook placement on the top? You know what I mean?
Nah, I like the chewed up ones.
You do?
Yeah.
They swim better?
No, I don't
They
know.
got
I think
holes
they
in
just
them
have a
and
little mojo in them. You
Like
know?
the sink rate
Yeah,
is
I like to
obviously
get
different.
I like to get my money's worth out of a bait, man.
Right.
I'll use them until I'll keep a regular soft plastic.
these aren't
I'll cut
expensive.
No, they're just good.
$5
Yeah.
for a pack of
$5.50, I think.
Five?
$5.50 for a pack of 5. Yeah.
five?
Yeah.
We got all the colors. We
Yeah.
got this brand new color as
Brand
well.
new color.
What do we call this one?
Chartreuse pearl belly. And
Chartreuse
dude, it's
pearl
been
belly.
money this spring already, dude.
Really?
Caught a 27 on it in Port Isabel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We got them all here at Roy's Bait and Tackle Cruise In.
Yeah, the
And
guys
check
that
them
fished it,
out.
and actually the guys that named it the Grasswalker, they said it's like the love child of a bass assassin and a corky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go into too much on the corkies, but when you're fishing your corkies, on one of your YouTube videos, you said that you're tuning the corky to walk the dog, right?
Mhm.
We have Chris Bush here as well.
Awesome.
Right?
Love it.
He likes to fish his corkies up top, right?
Uh-huh.
Erratic up top.
Yeah.
I like to fish my corky slow, right? If I'm gonna be fishing a lure fast, I'm not gonna put a corky on, right?
Yeah.
When you fish a corky, do you want to fish it slow? Is it more like a slow bait? This is just your
Yeah.
trout fishing
Yeah.
expertise, right? Do you want to fish it slow, or it just depends on what you get your first hit?
Yeah, I'm going to lean into this one. I want to give them what the fish want.
Right.
I've got guys that fish it fast and love it, and I've still got a guy, a super great friend of mine. He still kills it fishing it super slow. I mean, like
Super slow.
like dragging it slow. And that dude catches 10 or 12 big trout a winter,
Really?
big ones. And he's like, I'm barely moving it, man. See, the slowest I can keep it from hitting the bottom. But then there's other days when they want it fast. I mean, I'll tell you guys what Bill Pajowski said in one of our videos is mix it up and let the fish tell you what they want. That's what works, because
Right.
some days they're on an aggressive mood and they don't want it slow.
Right.
Yeah,
No matter how cold it is.
don't matter how cold it is. And then you start popping it and really whipping it and walking it and then pause it. And then there's a difference too. Like learned this past winter. So we've all been bending that tail down super sharp, and that's typically a deep presentation, And we get the idea that that bended tail starts kind of hitting that corky, kind of keeping it down. But one of the cool things about that super tail bend, if you start reeling it, it causes the corky to wobble through the water like a big crankbait. So I've got one guy, a good buddy of mine, Michael Reed, and he'll do that quick erratic presentation with it, and then he'll slow reel it with that bent tail, and it's just wobbling. So it's walk, 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 and then wobble, 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 and they're smoking it.
Yeah.
So give them what the fish want, and you might have to mix it up on a different day. So between the major and minor, they might want that slow presentation better. But when that minor starts rolling around an afternoon miner or an evening miner, and they start to really go aggressive, start walking it really good and more towards the surface. So there's no right or wrong. I think we get all into this is the way I work it, and I would even say one of the challenges is like getting out of your own rut, because a lot of times you get in that rhythm, 2 pop, 3 pop, pause, and that's all you work. And the fish are just like, I'm just not feeling you, man.
Right.
Yeah, and they're the ones that make the decisions.
Yeah. The post speaks for themselves, right?
Yeah.
A lot of good information. I know I see you post a lot on the Speckled Truth. There's a bunch of good information on
Very
the
good.
Speckled Truth,
Yeah.
which is Christopher Bush's
Yes, sir.
page, right?
Yep.
Group page.
Yep.
Cruise into there and check it out, right?
Yeah.
You have a group page?
Not yet, but we'll probably roll one out here pretty soon.
Oh, really?
I have a membership called Club Texas, and that's what I was talking about earlier.
But that's not necessarily on Facebook.
No, it's
something
super
you
on the
gotta get
down
through the
low.
website.
Yeah, you got to get over 3 military fences to get into it,
right.
pretty much.
And that's what this is about. If you look, when you all come in, right, on the bag, it's part 4x4, B1 bomber,
Yep.
Ranger, part SEAL team,
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
So these are built for some tough stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Tough conditions and
Super dense,
yep.
long casting,
Yep.
swims,
Walks, swims,
real light.
no
right?
wrong
It's
way to
not
work it.
It casts far,
Yeah, you don't need a weighted hook either to
Yeah.
cast it. Yeah.
but it just doesn't sink to the bottom
That's
as soon
right.
as it hits the water
That's right.
either.
Yeah.
Right.
I literally had this redfish down. I was fishing with a guy in the Arroyo area, and we were sight casting. We were actually drifting and sight casting and looking for fish, and I guess I kind of got a little bored, and I just made a long cast out there and just started working it. Twitch, twitch, pause, twitch, twitch, pause, and all of a sudden this boil was behind it. Redfish missed it, and I just stopped, and this bait actually, when you stop it, it'll just kind of drift around to the side like this. It doesn't nose down to the bottom. So it drifted around like this, and all of a sudden, boom, he hit it.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of benefit. Just when you pause it, it'll just go off on its own, and do its thing. You say, hey, Mr. Redfish, come back and get me.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think about the 2021 freeze?
It was pretty big. I've really dialed in a lot of the really detailed specifics of it, and here's some cool stuff that I figured out. So we've got our bigger bays, Galveston, Corpus Christi, West Matagorda. Baffin's on the teetering side of that, but Baffin doesn't have this parameter that I'm about to tell you all about. But the first day of the freeze, our tide height went up 3 feet because of the northeast wind. And what that gave the bigger bays with a beach inlet, it gave it a huge fresh input of Gulf water that was warmer than the bay water, and that tide was coming up, and it also doubled the volume. So the mass and volume that were in those bays and the specific gravity that it took to release the heat out of that was more. So what we're finding is that our bigger bays actually have more fish in them right now. Our bigger bays with an inlet. Now, if you look at somewhere like Port O'Connor, it's super shallow. Espirito Santo is super shallow, deepest like 6 foot, as compared to Corpus, it's like 14 feet deep. Galveston, 12 feet deep. So POC right now, not that many fish, super tough.
Really?
Rockport with the Aransas Bay, shallow bay, super tough. Corpus side, more fish over there. Baffin, it's got some depth to it. I've had some of my best times over at Baffin. Port Isabel was right on that lower cusp of the freeze getting down there. They had like 2 nights at like 12 and 16 or something like that during the freeze. Those fish that were in the Brownsville ship channel, a lot of them survived. And I've been having better results down there as compared to Port Mansfield. Port Mansfield's got an inlet, but it's not very deep. Huge fish kill. So definitely, if I had lived in Dallas or somewhere where I could pick and choose where I was going to go, and it was maybe an hour longer, I would pick one of those big bays to go to. So the freeze definitely had its effect, big time. Yeah.
So you think that it did have an impact?
Huge.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, did it kill them all? No.
Right.
No, there's still fish in each bay swimming. It's just a little tougher on some of the ones that got hit the hardest. Yeah.
Do you think it'll ever be the same?
Yeah, I think it'll come back. That all comes into something that we call recruitment, and that basically, and that's not us trying to recruit speckled trout into the Army or anything, but it has to do with their viability amount. So we get a certain percentage of viability from a spawn, and it takes a good different parameters in order for one of those spawned eggs to actually be fertilized and live for a year and then come into being one of the catchable trout in the bays. And that number is a lot lower than what gets spawned. I mean, each fish spawns tons of eggs, but certain things affect that viability and that recruitment. And for example, Galveston Bay, we've had super fresh years, like 5 or 6 years in a row. That drops recruitment. Right now, we've got good salt water in our bays. None of them have a ton of fresh water. So that recruitment should be higher. There's enough trout in our bays to repopulate the population as long as our recruitment, and that's water quality, and fresh water is part of that water quality. If we have our bays salty enough, good tides and things like that, and that will increase it. So it can. I think the whole key is it can be as good as it was. We just need to give it a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think the whole catch only 3 fish now is a good thing?
Oh, now here it is. Isn't it?
Now we're getting into the raw side of things.
I think it's a good thing.
You do?
Yeah, and here's the thing: it's not just catch 3; it's catch all you want, fish all freaking day.
Yeah.
But just
Keep
take 3 home.
Right.
And
if you want to.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing a lot of people say is the Parks and Wildlife Division set it up to where we're only targeting those females, which are the spawning biomass. And what they actually did was they tried to set it up to where each female trout can spawn 2 seasons before being taken out. Because they actually spawn when they're like 13, 14 inches, their first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, their first time. So they're little virgins, I
Right.
guess. Little virgin trout. And then the next year they're like 17, they're teetering on that time. And maybe you've already caught 3, but you catch that 4th one and you release it. So not only is she going to spawn twice, she's going to spawn a 3rd time. That's a huge amount of eggs. So the whole idea behind it is to get the spawning biomass to spawn 2 or 3 years in succession in a larger amount. And from all those eggs released into the water, we get that recruitment. And if we keep those numbers up, it'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Ram Garcia's opinion doesn't count, right?
Yeah.
But I feel, and a lot of people are going to get mad about this, but I feel like we'll never see 5 trout again. And I like to keep
That's
fish.
the fear.
Well, I say
the
I like
fear.
to keep fish. I like to eat fish,
Yeah.
right? I like to keep my limit, right? Every now and then I'll throw back fish, right? When necessary,
Yeah.
right? If I catch a bunch of big fish, I'm going to let them go,
Yeah.
right? Letting go fish makes for good content, and I'm in the business of creating content, so that's what I do, right? But we've gone from 10 trout
To
to
5
trout
to 3
to
trout.
3 trout.
Hey, next year's going to be 1.
Yeah, is it? I mean, are we getting 5 back next year? Or are we getting less fish next? Are they going to do a test and be like, guess what? The heat killed them.
Right.
The heat killed them now.
Brown tide or something like that.
You know what I mean?
Red tide.
What's next?
There's some chance that they'll come back at the end because the way the bill's written right now is that it's supposed to sunset, meaning it's automatically going to end.
Right.
Now, they may come back after that and say, hey, we want another year.
Yeah,
They
anything
might.
could happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know.
Well,
I just like catching them. I still have fish in my freezer that I've had for a while, and I've got plenty of fish in the freezer, so I don't really need to keep them.
Mr. Bush comments, Ram, the current regulation have an automatic sunset
right.
in 23.
That's right. It's a sunset.
That's correct.
Yep.
But
They could come back and ask for it again.
they can do whatever they want, man. And we have to listen to whatever they say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's give away something else.
Yeah, let's give away.
Let's bring up the morale a little bit, right?
So I really, like I said, I love contributing to people, and I thought of no better way but to actually give away one of these memberships to Club Texas.
Let's do that.
It's a huge. So like, there's literally 20 to 25 years of fishing experience already built into this club, and video, over 300 videos. I mean, honestly, getting that amount of education, whether it's your own time and getting guides, costs literally thousands of dollars. So
we're going to give away the membership, Club Texas membership, a cap.
Yep, we're going to give them that winner.
What does that cap look like? It's right behind.
Yeah,
don't fall off that thing.
Showing my true height. This is how tall I am.
Right.
No, not really.
Trout support cap.
Yeah, these are new. So any of you guys that are big fans of ours and do want one of those, just DM me and we'll get you one.
And 4 packs of the grass walker. Hell of a bait, long casting, weedless, walk the dog, tough, and most importantly, made in the U.S.
Yeah. There's some guides that are loving it. So Chuck Uzzle, Cliff Webb, Colton Blackwell keeps this on the down low. He didn't like to tell anybody he fishes it, but he says that when he's got a client that is kind of a little scared to let the corky sink down in the water and around the rocks, he'll put on that grass water.
So what are we gonna do? I didn't come up with any questions. Well, maybe we could do like a first person to tell us when trout support. Oh, I got one.
What year trout support started?
What year did trout support start? Did you mention that here? No. What year did trout support start?
Yeah. The first person that said
first person to comment that. And I haven't seen Austin Matthews on, so that's y'all's biggest threat. He wins all the time. I haven't seen him on, so you got a real good chance at this. First person to tell me what year trout support started will get a membership to Club Texas.
A hat?
1996? Nope. A hat, trout support hat. All right. I want y'all to see that. 2009?
Yes.
2009.
Who is that? It better not be Chris Bush.
Corey Ogle. Corey Ogle, you are the winner.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see somebody else win, man. It's always Austin Matthews that wins everything. Before Corey Ogle wins, Corey Ogle is the winner on my screen.
Yep.
Right?
That's it.
There's a lot of different internet providers, I guess, and some are slower, right? So if you want on your screen, I'm sorry, right? Corey Ogle has the fastest internet, and he is the winner of the membership
hat
to Club Texas, a cap, and 4 packs of the grass walker. We're going to talk about one more thing, and after that, we're going to give something else away. So don't go anywhere. We're going to give you enough time to open up another Karbach. Oh, well, that's another thing. We're going to talk about 2 things. But first, let's talk about this. How do you feel about the whole pandemic of guides?
The
pandemic of guides. We talked about it briefly at the beginning.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about and I don't know, because I'm not a guide, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's easy to go get a guide's license.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a guide now. Let's go fish and pay me.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like it takes away from the captains and the other captains, right? Remember, there was 2 captains, right?
Right.
There was the captains, and then there's captains. How do you feel about that?
You know, I'm a guy that's super open-minded, and I think people should be able to grow into their own, whether that means competition or not. I know it does cause a lot of competition with the current guides that are super good even. And, you know, one of the things you get from competition are lower rates, but those guys that are really good are still getting a lot of business. All the guiding that I know, the guys that have really good businesses, their entire business is completely word of mouth. You know, they don't do any social media or anything.
Yeah, there wasn't any when they started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and they still do. You know, still do that. So I don't think the state should put any kind of cap on how many guides we should have or anything like that. I'm for, you know, pretty much uncontrolled business, you know, so to speak. Now it's up to those guys to be able to. They gotta market, and then they gotta keep those people coming back. Or those people could, you know, those guides, new guides could get in with a hotel or something and just provide, you know, tourism guiding kind of thing.
Or like a cabin or something.
Yeah,
Their
you
own
know, and then
little
they just get
outfit.
the referrals and get people from that, you know, and you have that. And it's kind of a, to me, that's kind of sad because those people might just kind of go on a boat ride, you know. But there are some good guides that still do their, to me, it's more or less how long are they going to last, you know. They might have gotten a guide license, but it's going to be up to them to produce. It's going to be up to them to how they treat people, how do they entertain people, how do they keep those people coming back, you know?
Right. Not picking somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a lot of guide buddies of mine. Some of them have been on the show where they're doing catch and release
Oh yeah.
guided trips.
Yeah.
Marcus Harrelson is one of them, to where he says to his clients, "Hey, we're not keeping no fish,"
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah.
I get it, right? The other guides, we're gonna keep as much fish as you want, right? The weekend warrior can only keep 3 trout, right?
Right.
We're going back to the free stuff a little bit. We can only keep 3, right? Okay, I get it. We can keep his 3 reds, you know, catch something else to eat if you like fish.
I think a lot of the guys that do the dock shots or keep their whole limit, they're doing it more because they don't feel like they have a different option to market. And it's our ability to market that we need to grow,
Right.
so that we can be able to maybe sell the experience, you know, sell the experience of releasing the fish instead of keeping them, and we don't have to kill them all,
Right.
you know. So it's
We want you to see all these fish we're slamming on the boat,
yeah,
so you could come back.
That's it.
And catch more.
that's it. Yeah. So
Right.
we got to teach them how to market themselves, so they don't have to just do
I
the
like
dock
that.
shot of, you know, a bunch of 15-inch trout laying up there, you know.
Let's give away something else.
Yeah, I think.
And
we
then we're
got-
going to talk about one more. Well, first of all,
Yeah.
if y'all have noticed, Mr. Strickland is not drinking
Yes, sir.
today. And I wanted to bring that up because it's super important. We see it all. We see the posts online, and it's a big deal to me, right? Everybody has their own opinion about it,
Yeah.
but this is yours.
Yeah. So one of the first things to point out is I do drink, but what I wanted to do was I actually wanted to dedicate my time on the show here to a really good friend of mine, Vince Calloway, Captain Vince Calloway. He actually got sober 10 years ago and hasn't had a drink since that time. So I really wanted to dedicate that part of it and make this also more about, if you do drink, drink responsibly.
Right. That's the most important
Yeah.
thing.
You know, I love a good drink, but
Yeah.
do it responsibly.
Yeah.
And we all know those people, like, you can't go a Friday night without having to hold their hair back or,
Oh, yeah.
or walk them home or
That's
take them
bad.
home or something like that.
That's the bad kind of drink.
That's the bad kind.
If you're at the house, you got a Karbach in your hand, you're watching Spoiled Life Live.
Yeah, enjoy yourself.
That's cool,
Yeah.
right? But if you're out drinking and you're driving and stuff, then you know what?
You're just a
That's
bullet.
bad, right?
You're just a bullet on the road at that point.
Stacy Gentry says, "Are you sure I didn't comment 2009 first?" So you're my witness.
I
Right? We
don't
had
have my
Brian
glasses
Richter,
on.
1996, Corey Ogle,
Corey
2009.
Ogle, yeah.
Right. I'll send you a screenshot,
Yeah, there you go.
Mrs. Gentry. And,
I'll tell you what, I'll give her.
well, she's got one more chance.
Oh, does she? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we're gonna
true.
give
That's
away
true.
something
That's
else.
true. Okay.
If
Yeah.
you got one more chance, Miss Gentry. All right. So we're gonna give away 4 bags of the grass walker,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Right here. Four bags of the grass walker, brand new in the package, ready
Yeah.
to attack some trout.
Some red and white. And guys, we used to use this. This is the old classic
Yeah,
red
it's
and
an old
white.
school color.
And dude, almost nobody uses it anymore. And the cool thing about that is the fish basically haven't seen it. So to
That's
them,
true too, right? It's something different.
it's something different, and I find that's more important about color. So we've got the chartreuse pearl belly, and also the birthday suit. The birthday suit. It's basically, you come into this world with the birthday suit on anyway. So this is basically a naked mullet. It's basically the closest I can get to a mullet. That's
a good
Justin
clear water
Styles.
color.
You know Justin Styles. It's one of his favorite. His favorite are the chicken on the chain and the birthday suit. So, yeah, we're gonna give away 4 of those.
How are we gonna give this away? What do you think?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Crystal McBride says my husband would love to try these. Man, well, you got to win, Crystal. You mean the more we participate, the more stuff we give away. I might even give away something else. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Here at Spool Life Live, we do whatever the hell we want. So the more people participate, the more stuff we win. We already gave away $300 of crawfish.
Yeah.
We gave away a
Club Texas
membership along with a cap and 4 packs of the Grasswalker. And now we're giving away 4 packs of the Grasswalker for the first person to tell me
what I could have bought instead of developing.
yeah, that's a good one. First person to tell us.
the lure.
And that was
That
stated
was,
on
that
the
was
show.
during this hour here.
Yeah. First person to tell us it cannot be Corey Ogle. It's got to be somebody else. Nope. Sorry, Corey Ogle. Next person to tell us. Andy Ozuna
All right.
is the winner.
All
Corey
right.
Ogle did say Tesla. But,
Sweet.
I mean, come on, Corey. We got to spread the wealth a little bit here. But I'm glad you're on point, man. You're on point.
Listening.
You might be like the next Austin Matthews. Andy Ozuna, you're the winner, man. Thank you so much for paying attention. And, these questions are tough because if you come in to the show at a wrong
Hey,
time,
we might have missed it.
yeah, if you come in halfway, you missed the first part. But I do these live because usually the ones I do online or on the Instagram page, the Facebook page, most of the people will come in, oh, yeah, let me tag my buddies. He'll contact me, right, when I win. And they just won't come into the show. So these on-the-show giveaways are for the people that are on the show, right? And I'm pumped about that kind of stuff. I get excited. I get goosebumps. I'm pumped to give this stuff away for the people that actually participate. So let's keep one more thing before we close out the show, before we close out this beautiful Friday. I'm not sure if the Buccaneer's still going on. Downtown Corpus. Parade, carnival.
Okay, I don't know.
Before everybody heads out over there, before everybody starts loading up their stuff to fish this weekend. I like to do it early. My wife has me going everywhere.
Yeah, I got to go switch out my wade box. I'm fishing with some
Get it
buddies
all
in a tournament
prepared,
tomorrow,
ready to go for that morning. We're going to talk about one more thing before all that, right? How do you feel about the whole sponsorship / ambassador / pro staff? There's about 1,000 names now.
Bro staff.
Yeah,
I think
bro
that's the best
staff.
one.
How do you feel about all that?
That has a couple different sides of it. That's a pretty touchy subject. I don't have a whole lot of guys that I actually sponsor. Most of the people that I do came to me and were like, dude, this thing's awesome. I love it. But then they actually do the work to be able to, put it out there.
Right.
But the one thing that I don't like, the thing that rubs me wrong is a guy sponsored and then that's all he talks about. Just that. And never any other baits. Never any other brands. Can't talk about those other brands or anything like that. And that really rubs me wrong. It's just like, you know what? I personally, on a given day, I might fish 5 to 15 different baits.
Mm-hmm.
And if I catch fish on a different bait, I don't want some guy who's maybe, giving me a pack or something to call me up and, hey, why didn't you push my bait?
Right.
I don't think you're paying me, are you? Kind of.
And that's a big deal.
And I've had guys do that to me.
That's where the split is.
Yeah.
Well, in my head, right?
Yeah.
In my head, if you're sponsored, you're getting product and you're getting paid, right? If you're a pro staff, you're a promotional staff, right? You're getting a discount on baits.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean,
It's not like
if
you're
I
giving much.
if I
You're
had
saving
a
a guy
lure
a little
company,
few bucks, yeah.
I'd be like, hey, guess what? You're gonna be on my pro staff. right? Okay, well, how much are you going to give me? Hey, guess what? I'm going to give you 20% off.
Yeah.
30%,
Just a few
50%. In my field of expertise doing this, I would say, hey, guess what? I'm going to give you 30% representation.
Yeah.
You know, you want me to tag you? You want me to do this? I want you to tag me too.
Yeah.
Right? We can't grow a business without the business growing you.
That's it.
Right? It's got to be, it's networking, right?
That's it. It is networking.
Before all the names came out, basically what it was networking. You got to network with your people.
Yeah.
You got to network with the company's people. Those people got to network with you.
And that's a really good point, because really in today's time and with so much competition, it's really what drives the whole tackle industry. And without that, let's call it bootstrapping. It's really bootstrapping marketing 101 is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most of any of these items in this tackle store probably wouldn't make it without the bootstrappers of the bro staff and sponsored guys. So.
Yeah, it's gotten to where they might not even ever contact a company.
Yeah.
And they're just tagging them because
they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Yeah.
Anybody could be pro staff.
Yeah.
You could be whatever you want on Facebook.
Yeah. I think the individual person has to look and be able to decipher, gauge, is that guy just saying good words about that company because he's getting a kickback, or does he honestly really love that bait or whatever the product is, you know? And you can feel that when people are talking about that. So I think that's okay.
Right. I'm going to give away something else.
What are you going to give away?
I'm going to give away a fishing stringer. It's by Grind. I've given away some. I don't have one with me, but I'm going to give one away nonetheless because I have one at the house.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to give it away. I mentioned a couple things that this lure was built by. Right. There was a couple things I mentioned not too long ago. So everybody that's here should be here. I want to give something away for the people that just tuned in. Right. I feel bad. Right. Ram Garcia does have feelings every now and then, especially about, you know, people.
We're giving away more stuff than a lot of podcasts do.
Man, here at Speckled Life Live,
this is pretty generous.
It's the real deal here.
Yeah.
We're real, we're raw, and we're live.
Yeah.
But live is in all capital letters, right? First person to tell me one thing that I mentioned that the Trout Support lure was built by. First person. Come on, Gentry.
Yeah.
I know you're listening. First person to tell me what the Trout Support was built by, right? There was 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 items. I mentioned 10 things. And the first person is on my screen, right? Okay. Anybody could win, Mr. Ogle. I already know you know.
I guess I actually just gave a hint.
Well, these giveaways got to be for real, right? They're for real. We can't give no hints unless we're like an hour. We'll wait an hour, you know. All right, so I'm gonna keep going. Is that one of them? Yes, it is. Andy Ozuna.
What do you say?
Bomber.
Yes, sir.
Bomber's one of them.
Part B1 bomber.
B1 bomber. You know.
Long range.
Should we not give it to him since he didn't say B1?
Oh no, that's fine.
All right, let's give it to him. B1 bomber.
One of the guys early on, he was on Too Cool. He took it out, and with a little bit of wind behind him, just a little bit, he actually pulled off a 61-yard cast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real long. That's basically almost a spool emptying cast.
When you're at what distance before we end the show? We're already an hour and a half deep in this show.
Wow.
And that box you're standing on, I guarantee, is under some serious stress. At what distance do you think this lure is most effective?
Oh,
because you could cast a mile with these things.
Yeah, you can.
But at what distance do you really start to see this lure actually working like it's supposed to?
I'll give you, there's two different sides of it. For the sight casters, 15 to 25 yards. I mean, it's super accurate because it casts like a bullet. But then, like Cliff Webb said the other day, I was talking to him, he said, you can cast so far that those fish don't even know you're there. So this is something dropping into their
yeah.
environment. They don't hear you. They don't hear boat slap or nothing.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this thing is walking above their head, and it's just like, that's a bait. That's food.
Let's taste this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Miss McBride says, bought the hubby a new pole last year from Royce. Obviously, where else would you buy it from? Now our 15th is next week. Time to pick him out something else from there.
All right.
We got everything. I'm assuming the 15th is your anniversary. We got about every single thing. Just what I'm looking at here is caps, sandals, apparel, Tobin. He's not for sale. We got shirts. We got a little bit of everything. Cruise into the shop.
Slide me a number on a paper.
Right.
Might be.
Thank you all so much. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
What's next?
Wish we could talk another hour.
What's next for Trout Support?
We're working on Reef Recon, Corpus Christi Bay, Port Aransas right now. So probably about a year and a half out. It's a huge endeavor to be out there scanning reefs and looking for oyster reefs that are hidden and all that. And so that's what's next, developing that.
When it comes out, where can we find it?
Probably online.
Troutsupport.com.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
Facebook, Trout Support.
Facebook,
well.
Trout Support, and Tobin Strickland. Instagram,
right.
Tobin_Trout Support.
Yeah. Go follow Mr. Strickland's media pages. Super knowledgeable posts, badass pictures, you know. And you tag the people. You also post what other people catch as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. You
Right.
know, and I'm a big proponent of we should be able to give people credit. You know, if somebody's saying something good, I should say that, hey, Ram Garcia talked about this the other day.
Right.
And give guys props, you know. Or
Yeah.
Chris Bush said this, and it's spot on. Or Chris Bush led me to fish jerkbaits more often. And,
Yeah.
You know, or I learned this from Jay Watkins. And we can be top teachers in our field and still give respect to other people. And all it does is lend me credibility when I'm willing to do that. So we don't have to be like, you know, hey, I heard this guy say this, and I'm not gonna, you know, leave his name.
Yeah. Respect. The word respect is huge.
Yes, sir.
In the industry, and there's some that's lacking.
Yes, sir.
Right. There's a lot that's lacking in the industry. Nothing's free. Right. It's not free. It costs money to do everything we do. Fishing's super expensive.
Super expensive.
Right. Respect is free.
That's it.
You know.
That's it.
At least give that.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you all so much. I got something big in the works. I'll post that later. Right. I got a show. Next show will come out 2 weeks from today. It's another big show. We have nothing but the biggest shows in South Texas. I'm thinking maybe like South Texas, from South Texas, Maine, Montana.
Oh my goodness.
From the biggest shows from that area right there.
Wow.
Right.
All right.
Thank y'all so much. JC Gonzalez says, thanks for the info, Mr. Strickland, and Spool Life Live. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll shoot out the next show flyer as soon as it's ready. I want to thank my show sponsors, Roy's Bait and Tackle, here at the beautiful Roy's Bait and Tackle studio. Real sportswear that keeps me looking fresh, feeling fresh. It's like when I put this stuff on, it's like prom 2001 all over again, you know? And Karbach Brewery.
Look good, feel good.
Yeah, exactly. Karbach Brewery for keeping us refreshed, right? Drink responsibly, right?
I want to thank my sponsors.
Go ahead.
My sponsors are you guys.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
That's who I'm gonna help and give my 100% to.
All right. What else you got, Mr. Strickland? That's it?
That's it, bro.
And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, good times.
Thank you all for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope you learned. I hope if you hadn't heard of Trout Support, I hope you learned of a new company, right?
Yeah.
Cruise into Roy's Bait and Tackle. We got all the colors here. And we will see y'all next time.
All right. Later, guys. Peace.